Boots Ennis, Vergil Ortiz. It didn't happen because they're saying that Jaron wanted to stay at 147. A lot of fans have gone on his case about that, but what's your reaction to him not going through with the Vergil Ortiz fight?
I mean, well, how much more running do you want to do? Is the real question. Because if I show up at your fight and call you out and you have no other option but to fight Blair the Flair, and then you say, you know what, I want to move up to 154, and then somebody calls your bluff at 154, and then you change your mind swiftly to say, I know I want to stay at 147, and you cannot unify these titles because everybody has a fight. Why are we not making the Blair the Flair fight happen where we can have a big attraction, big excitement in the sport of boxing at the welterweight division with two Philadelphia fighters? I have no clue what they're doing besides ducking.
So some say in regards to that, hey, well, Eddie did an interview where he said Jaron wants to unify. He wants to become undisputed at 147 pounds. You know, that's their goal. He wants to achieve that goal and then move up. Fans point out that post-fight press conference and the interview saying like, hey, maybe it's time to move up to 154. I know you were there in attendance vying for the fight, but what do you make of those two perspectives?
I think that with these people, these movers in the sport of boxing, when it comes to Jaron Ennis, is that they're trying to find the path with the least resistance. And the problem is the path to least resistance leads boxing down the road of boredom. There's nothing happening. There's no element of surprise. We need somebody in there that's constantly surprising them. Blair the Flair is there. Blair the Flair should be the next fight that Jaron Ennis fights. That would be a big attraction. And also, you don't know what might happen.
So then from this point on, I know you showed up there at the press conference. You wanted to get the fight. How do you get that fight?
By constantly putting pressure on the people of Jaron Ennis and constantly putting the pressure to have the fans excited to the idea and the possibilities of Blair the Flair fighting Jaron Ennis is the best way that I know how. And honestly, it's just a whole lot of prayers to possibly make boxing great and keep boxing alive.
If not that one, where do you go from here, Blair? When do we see you back in the ring, and do you have an opponent?
I don't have an opponent, but if there was ever anything I definitely wanted to see is Mario Barrios, February 15th. You know, let's sell out a stadium and make great things happen with the WBC People's Champion versus the WBC's welterweight world champion. Let's make that fight happen and make it happen now.
Oh, so you're vying for Barrios. Conor Benn is vying for Barrios also.
Hey, man, right now it's all about what's great. Mario Barrios, Blair the Flair is a great fight for the fans and for the people. I wish nothing but the best for my guy, Conor Benn, but it looks like he might be fighting someone else on the other side of the seas.
Any idea who?
Maybe Chris Eubank or something. So it's looking very interesting for Conor Benn. He has options, and for me, I look forward to possibly pulling this fight off if ever there was a possibility for that.
Your reaction to Gervonta against Lamont Roach, what do you think about it?
Well, I wish Lamont Roach the best. I'm hoping that he puts on a great show, whether he win or lose. It's going to be a great fight.
What kind of fight do we see?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what Lamont Roach is going to bring to the table that's going to be different and new, that's going to somehow take over the fight with this massive destructive power of Gervonta Davis.
Yeah, some people I've talked to have said they feel it's going to be a very good fight because Lamont's so familiar with Tank coming from the amateurs, and they're saying like, hey, when you know a guy like that intimately, like you know how hard they punch, you know their style, it tends to work itself out a lot better. You're a lot more comfortable in the ring. Other people say, hey, you know, the moment that Tank touches them, like other Tank fights, it's gonna be done with.
Absolutely, and honestly, both of those points could be very well like understood. I don't know what's going to happen if Tank lands a punch, because usually something happens every single time. But the fact that they have a whole lot of experience with each other, it might be very interesting to see how Lamont Roach fares in this fight, how he gets through each round to find himself in a victory. Because usually the best way to beat somebody like Gervonta Davis is to be an extremely good checker player, where you domino all these rounds upon himself and win the fight unanimously on scorecards.
You know, speaking of which, is there someone in your opinion that would be a checker player to be able to beat Tank at this point? I know many fans feel that that person's Shakur could be the one that beats him, but in your opinion, like, who's out there that you feel can beat him?
Well, Shakur might be good enough to fight and do that exact same thing if he's safe enough to not get hit, which he is incredibly hard to hit, you know. And so yeah, maybe I think Shakur has probably the best chances.
In your opinion, do you think that fight does happen?
I don't know. I'm hoping that it happens for the people. I'm hoping that it happens for the sport. But honestly, there's no real guarantees in boxing. Things are constantly changing every single day.
Very true. A few more things, Blair. One, Benavidez and Morrell. I'm curious, man. A lot of people have said it's a 50-50 fight. They don't know which way to go. Some have mentioned that Benavidez' experiences is what's going to carry him through. But how do you see it, given your perspective?
I think the same. I think that Benavidez' experience is going to carry him through. He has excellent timing, excellent speed, and a lot of experience in that ring with high caliber fighters day in and day out, in training, in fights, all throughout his life. For a very long time, he has been performing on the highest level.
Undisputed, once again, Fury against Usyk. How do you see the rematch going, and do you see it any differently?
Well, the best prediction I can ever ask for is the people winning. Because I want these major fights to be big attractions, big pay-per-views, and I want the people to get their money's worth in the fights. So my prediction is that the people win.
How does the fight go, in your opinion, this second time around?
The fight go, oh my goodness. I'm hoping that Tyson Fury somehow finds a way to make the fight more challenging. If so, we might be able to see a third trilogy. Either way, I'm happy. My expectations is that Usyk is going to find a way to win again.
How does that play out in the fight? Like, what type of fight do we see if you expect Usyk to win? Is it similar to the first fight, or do you think it's a completely different fight this time around?
I would believe that it's a similar fight to the first fight. Usyk's agility and speed is just a little bit too much for this giant man named Tyson Fury.
You know, given that if Usyk does pull out the win against Fury, do you think there's anyone else at heavyweight that could challenge him or potentially beat him?
No. At that point, Usyk is undisputed and cannot be beat at the heavyweight division.